My name is Nousha. I am a writer slash yoga instructor slash security guard. And I immigrated to Vancouver almost 16 years ago now from Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard downtown.
And Canada was the best choice I had. And between three cities like Vancouver, Montreal and Toronto, my immigration advisor asked me, which city do you want to live in? And I said, which city has the mountains? She said, Vancouver, but you're not going to live there because it's expensive. It is a senior city and everything is so prices are high. There's no job in there. I said, I don't mind. I just want to live in a city with mountains. And that's why I chose here and I came here. And I'm so glad I did it.
I always loved watching Shania Twain. She had this concert VHS that I had, which she would go to her hometown. It was all snow and everything. And she would introduce Canada, right? And I was like, oh, like Canada, that sounds very, very attractive, but yet very cold. So that was really my very first kind of an introduction to what Canada was.
Yes, it's been a pretty good life on the North Shore, particularly Deep Cove. We moved to North Vancouver, to Strathcona Bay, which we call it's the local name for a little bay very close to Deep Cove. For a little 5-year-old running out onto the beach for the first time, and from Vancouver streets to that was incredible. The change was just, I was uplifted and I felt like I'd landed in heaven. I owned a fishing pole. Our landlord had a dock and I could walk down the dock with his son and he showed me how to fish. And every fish I caught was different. And you fished like this. You wound your line up and you threw it and it went out and it out and it out. Hopefully it didn't catch the backs of your pants. It did lots of times, but landed in the water and then you would twitch it along the bottom and you'd pull it in and you'd feel a little tick, 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 and you'd pull it. And it'd be, oh, another one of those bull heads. Into the compost bucket.
I've published my first book here in Vancouver 3 years ago, which was impossible to do in Iran due to censorship. And even drinking, dancing in these stories, I couldn't, it was prohibited in Iran to be published. But here I had the freedom. It was, one of them is about a painter, a girl who was hanged in the jail for doing a crime who she never committed. And I felt responsible just writing a story about her. It is impossible to be published in Iran, but here I'm so privileged. I feel so privileged. I'm here and I have the freedom to do all this.
My name is Tim. I came to Canada 2016. I went to Seacove Secondary School when I came here. Right now, when I record, it's been amazing how the time went. And my first day go there, I couldn't speak a single thing because my English isn't that good at the time. I just listened, and I couldn't understand everything. Basically, I just follow on. My second class was PE. I played badminton for a long time, but I haven't played that in the gym inside. So yeah, it's a new experience for me. There was one student named Willem, and he showed up and then gave me instruction how to play. I noticed that there's a difference. They didn't play very well, so I told them, how can I play? So I did play with them and then it went okay. They seemed like pretty happy. After the class, they told me you are really good at badminton and you should join the badminton club. So in the end of the day, I saw there's a sign-up sheet for badminton because it's spring season. And I say, should I join or not? So I decided to join, so I put my name out there. So it went pretty well after all.
What happened was, someone who I got to know much better later, who was one of the Musqueam members, found out where I'd been and that I was actually in classical archaeology, not in BC archaeology. And he gave me shit on the grounds that the BC needed people from BC doing BC archaeology. There wasn't enough professional stuff going on. So I switched.
My parents are immigrants from Scotland. My sisters and I are and my cousins, I guess, would be all like the first generations of Canadians that are born here. So it was kind of like growing up in two cultures. because we very much functioned as a Scottish household, but we're Canadian kids and Canadian schools.
I was just curious if there is an opportunity for me to play in a kind of more structured way and a better setting with a band and everything. So I'm sitting in the office between the meetings and I'm like, okay, let's see if there is, I find something on this Craigslist, and I'll just reply to the one that is at the top. My next meeting is starting. I don't have time for the other posts or sending any other emails. I go to the meeting, I come back, and I see a reply like within few minutes, and the rest is just James and I just back and forth, and we set up the first jam session meeting.
Even through the emails, I knew there was like a friendship going to be born there, just from the likes and interests that we both had. From two different areas, it didn't matter, we had this common core right there, which was these bands we just adored, and the songs and stuff. And as soon as I was like, oh, do you know this song? He's, yes. Like, he would jump to it, right? So I was like, this is perfect. So in these nice summer seasons and stuff, we take every opportunity to have an acoustic session outside with the multiple parks you have and stuff, and it's really inspiring. It's actually even song inspiring for some people, right?
Yeah. The song is called The Creek, and James and I, we collaborated on it. The intro is the sound of water that we captured from the Lynn Creek, so it's very personal to us.
I would love to have more clean water, especially for the First Nation, because they don't have much clean water.
The White Rock municipality had cut off Semiahmo's water, right? Now, I knew the previous hereditary chief quite well. I had worked with Joanne Charles, who I'm still working with now. So I just had her name on my cell phone, and I picked up the phone and I called her and I said, I've just spent 5 years doing sewer and water and infrastructure with Indian Affairs, which I swore I would never do, but let's fix this. Let's get you guys sewer and water. That's what I've been doing ever since. And what's happened is, because of Trans Mountain, there's been a program called Sailor Sea Initiative that provides Semiahmo money to develop capacity, $500,000 a year for 3 more years. So I walked into that.
I'm looking forward to a future rather than, a retirement for me was not like hang up the hammer and nails. I did that for 30, 40 years. I was a carpenter, and I kind of done that. Anyway, I bought the house next door, and that was, say, 46 years ago, and I've been in that house and happily growing gardens and vegetables and renting my house to vacation guests. And I meet people from all over the world and love to see them. I live alone in the house, so it's a real pleasure for me to have tourists and guests and meet all kinds of people. I was sad with COVID, kind of clopped that off, and we had no one for a year and a half, but today they came. So today's the first day they're back, and I smiled big when I saw them. Thank you very much. That's the first paycheck and the happiest face I've seen in a long time. So
I think everybody can unite together after this mess, after this pandemic, and I think it's a good thing for us to unite together. I think everybody needs to be more empathetic. Yes, have more empathy towards each other.